Outer Worlds, the new DLC that's arriving this week. Do you want to take this over, Swinny?
Yeah, so now we're going to talk about a story that people actually do care about. That's
Gaming.
not amiibos. As I said, sorry, I said amiibos. That was a.
You did it intentionally.
That's a sin. That's a monster. So Obsidian spacefaring RPG, The Outer Worlds, is getting its second and final DLC, Murder on Eridanos, next week. This week, I guess this week because it's Sunday, on the 17th of March. So this, I'm super looking forward to this. Not just because it's more Outer Worlds and because I also need to recomplete it when it lands for my resolution, but this just looks really, really cool. So there's some footage out there, some early impressions, and they've taken a really, really awesome approach to it. It's a murder mystery. And your choices, just like everything in the Outer Worlds, like choices really do matter in that game. Like you're having to interrogate people and your perks matter and your companions will also factor into how the story plays out. And I just love the idea of putting a murder mystery in the Outer Worlds format. I think it's a fantastic idea.
That's a cool idea, yeah.
So it takes place on
the quirky humor that the game has, right?
Yeah, and as part of that, the new tool that's called the Discrepancy Amplifier, it's almost like Flood in a way where it's got its own personality. And that you use that to actually investigate crime scenes and you get a whole bunch of new perks. And there's science weapons and armor variants and whatnot. But the actual setting, so Eridanos, it's just really, really cool. So it's set in this, like, it's a gas planet with all these floating kind of islands. And in the center island is this big hotel called the Grand Colonial Hotel. And, like, apparently there's quite a lot in there. And there's lots of guests. And it's just really, really cool setting. And I'm really, really pumped for this. Peril on Gorgon, which was the first DLC pack, I didn't mind it, but it was set on an asteroid, so it wasn't the most like visually appealing area. Like this looks like an area that you go and you're like, oh, this looks awesome. So like I really want to explore all this stuff. And Peril, so Peril and Gorgon was a bit like, this is more Outer Worlds, but I'm not it hasn't hooked me a lot. Whereas this one, I'm super pumped for. So yeah,
this actually sounds really cool. I think I need to go back. I'd never finished the main campaign. I was super close to the end, I think. And then, life got in the way. But it'd be worth continuing that playthrough. And then
it's a really short game, Outer Worlds as well.
Relatively speaking,
yeah.
But I look at what
I think in Swinny languages, it's a really short game. 20 hours.
Look, if you,
well, I think it's more than 20.
I'd say it's actually. If you sit there and like you waste a lot of time, maybe.
Well, that's what I mean. I do because I check every single nook and cranny. I loot everybody, every container. Got to do this. Got to do that. Yeah. I literally am play testing the game basically when I play these kind of games.
But even for a game like that, it's not a long game. And if you know what you're doing, which is obviously not the first playthrough, like you can beat the game in like half an hour. So, but
beat the game in half an hour.
I'd beat it in I'd beat it in 25 minutes.
You can.
Yeah, but no one's sitting down and beating it in half an hour.
No one's going to do it properly. And then what's the point of getting the game? You're not going to experience it, right? So,
no, it's actually a really cool challenge run to do when
it would be cool, as a challenge run. Yeah, but I mean, it's the kind of game that it's all about the gameplay. First of all, is solid. I love the shooting mechanics and stuff, but it's the characters and the story and stuff. It's really quirky. It's really cool. It's classic Obsidian stuff.
And what's really great as well, so for Peril Gorgon and this new DLC is that all the companions are a huge part of Outer Worlds. They comment on everything. Like they got all the voice actors to do all the extra stuff with the DLC as well.
Cool.
And it's really great. So it's coming out, so 17th of March for PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but the Switch will get it later this year. I'm not sure if Peril and Gorgon's available on Switch yet, but so that's
I think it is. Let me double check that while you're covering it.
Yeah, so it's I'm happy. I'm super excited to see. Obviously, we know Obsidian's working on, so they've been working on that. I think is it Grounded or whatever that like bug co-op survival game.
But that's already out. So
but it's out in like early preview program, so they're still working on that game.
I don't think that's a main team though. I wouldn't imagine.
No, I'm just saying what Obsidian's working on. So they're working on that and Avowed that we know of, and
that's the big one.
Maybe there's something I'm forgetting about, but honestly,
no, I think Avowed is going to be the big one, and it has come out on Switch. The DLC Perils of Gorgon.
So I'm just honestly, I'd love them to make an Outer Worlds 2. Like I hope at some point that gets put in the pipeline.
Well, I thought everyone wants them to make New Vegas 2.
That would be great as well.
I mean, now they can, like bizarrely.
I just want them to Well, actually, I don't know who owns the rights.
We should just quickly say
Fallout.
no, but we should just quickly say it's all under Microsoft now.
Yeah. So
with Bethesda now they can make Fallout New Vegas too because they own that
That's
IP.
true.
Yeah.
But wait, who
kind of wild.
Do they own the full IP? Like, who owns the rights to the original Fallouts if someone wanted to port
Bethesda
them to
did.
Switch?
Bethesda did.
I guess they would.
Anyway, I just want to talk about Outer Worlds for a second. So I'm really the reason why I'd want them to work on an Outer Worlds sequel is because there's so much untapped potential in not only the world they created, but just the setting and the style. Like, this got such a cool style to it that when they initially announced it, everyone's like, "Oh, it's just ripping off Fallout." But no, when you play it, it's got its own kind of take on it, and it'd be a shame if this is the last we see of that world. That's all.
I don't think it will be, Swinny, but I think also, you got to think about the psychology of the teams. I think, especially these type of RPGs, to me, it makes so much sense to flip between different settings, like a Fallout style setting and an Elder Scrolls style setting, or a sci-fi then a fantasy, because it also I think keeps it fresh for the teams. So then maybe they go make Avowed, this main team works on that, and then they go, hey, why don't we come back to this IP and make a sequel?
But I don't care about the teams. I care about what I want to play.
I
think that's fair. Like,
fuck the teams, fuck them.
Well, it's more like, okay, I want to see more Outer Worlds. I don't want. That's what I want. I can only say what I want.
Hey, can
I'm
I
going to quote
Swinny?
It's the episode title. Fuck the devs /Swinny. Go on, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, speaking of untapped potential, did you tap Sam in your playthroughs?
Jesus.
All right, let's move on to
no, but hang on.
Story.
You know why that would be funny, right? Because of what the character is.
Yeah, I know. I did not have sex with the robot.
Okay, just making sure.
All right.
And by the way, it's not a humanoid robot. By the way,
it is an old school
cleaning awesome.
Cleaning
robot. Destroy cleaning robot.
That's awesome. All right, this is a big change of pace for the next story. So